Do you have the draft blues? Well, we are here for you. Hang out, guys. I got a couple buddies coming on with me. We're gonna talk NFL draft. We're gonna talk New York Jets. Hang out, crack one. You know what? Just come chill, man. Let's talk some ball.
I love the show. I love you guys. Fucking, let's go Jets. Jets, Jets, Jets.
We can't all be beautiful.
You're in the danger zone.
And we are live. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Danger Zone. Hey, Buffalo Jet fan, welcome in, brother. Gonna have you on one night. I know how busy y'all are right now, man. You guys at the top of the mountain, man. I don't know how you do it. You guys you're awesome, man. You are what got me addicted to just talking ball, and it's hard for an out of marketer like me to have intelligent Jets talk. Never lived in the New York area, and where else am I gonna get it, man? Besides online. And you are one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites, believe it or not, Daniel and I are having on tomorrow, and that is Joe Blewett, co-owner of Jets X Factor. So, if you follow the channel, you know that I don't normally go live anytime but Friday nights. But hey, when you have a chance to do Blewett, you make it happen, man, right? And Friday nights, it's hard for some people, and I get that. I get that when I understood that when I chose the time slot too. But like I said, there are some reasons to just make it happen, and Blewett is one of them. I'm gonna have Murph on soon. He's a big Joe Blewett guy as well. I mean, who's not, right? Who is not? Um, Also have my buddy Scott on, who I believe is ready to go. I'm gonna bring him out so we can get started. Murph, I think, is dancing around in the shower right now, so there's a mental image for you. But yeah, let's get the boys together and see what we got that happened this week. I mean, not a whole lot. We'll make the most of it. Without further ado, let's bring this guy out of the woods into the danger zone in our hearts and minds. Yeah, okay. Scott, what's up, dude?
Dane, I'm at the top of the mountain, literally. Cheers,
Dude,
brother.
good. Yes, yes. You know what? Cheers, man. It's been a few weeks since I talked to you, so I'm really glad that you could make it. We got a couple topics that I really want to talk to you about that we'll get into, but in general, man, hell of a view you got there. How's it going for anyone who hasn't seen that view before? How's it going?
Well, it's not going to be much longer. My house is about ready, so I will have to leave this whatever, hard to see on this, but I'll have to be leaving this spectacular view. Um, but oh well. And hey, and what do you mean not much happening this week? Jets fans should be so happy. There's a path for Lazard to stay in New York. I'm
uh,
I'm waiting to hear Murph's take on that one. But
You know what? I talked to him like a half hour ago on the phone, and we were like, "Man, what happened this week?" Basically, and that was the first thing out of my mouth. I said, Lazard."
yeah, that's funny.
um, and he's about to join us. I see him getting ready in the green room. But hey, like it or not, it is what we were dealt this week. And as you know, like we have to examine things. Hell, we examine things day to day in this fan base. But when going week to week, you can't gloss over that. So hey,
Yeah.
without further ado, let's bring him out. See what he's got to say. Dan
How
Murph, what's up,
dare
dude?
you, Scott? How dare you? You know not to bring up that accursed name on this show.
Well,
Yeah,
we just want to let you get it out of your system
Cheers, by the way.
to start the show, Murph. Then we can move
Come
on.
on. All right. All right. I get it. We gave him a big pay cut. But to me, he's a net negative. Maybe you guys might not agree. Maybe you're right. Maybe I just think with my emotions. I don't care. I cannot get it out of my head where he's congratulating a guy on a pick six from another team. Just not something I can vibe with. But not to mention all the drops and things. So no, I don't want Lazard, dude. Like, just trade him. Like, I hope to God this is like setting up for a trade because I just don't want him on the team.
Hey, Murph, real fast. I was being sarcastic, so just so you know.
Yeah, I know, I know. Always
uh,
busting my balls about Lazard. Sorry, I'm late, fellas. Sorry.
no, you're good, man. I would say though, without a shadow of a doubt, no one was trading for him before this week.
For sure.
Now, now you actually have some options, and especially considering like there's what like 4.4 million that he has dead next year, sorry, on our books. So if we were to trade him, we're paying that. That makes him actually semi tradable. Like same with Brees. I mean, and we'll get into that, but 6, 7, 8 weeks go by the NFL season. Guys get dinged up. They go on IR. They tear ACLs. They blow out Achilles, and they have Super Bowl aspirations, which we may not have. Hey, come on, man. You know what we need more than a trade now? We need a trade later for 2026, right?
Right.
While I agree with you, by the time that happens and you're talking about guys getting dinged up and stuff, we're going to be desperate for receivers. We'll be like four down at that point in time in the season.
Well,
We'll be starting Malik Taylor as wide receiver one.
the sad thing is the Jets receiving room actually has a spot for him right now because they're weak. It's a weak receiving room. But maybe, like Murph said, addition by subtraction. Um, but we'll see what happens.
That we will. I know, Murph. I just ripped the scab off, and I let the viewers know what we got going on tomorrow. For those
Oh,
joining us late,
you blew it
what's that?
already.
Yeah,
You blew it
I
Ah,
already.
blew it, man.
Good one, Murph.
Um, and we'll say it a few times tonight because I know we usually get cats dragging in all night. But again, we don't normally air on Saturdays. Tomorrow, though, literally in tomorrow morning for a West Coaster like me. Tomorrow afternoon for an East Coaster. Check us out. We got Blewett coming on, and he's been making his rounds, and he has been talking a lot about Pick Seven. I I do want to hit that with him. I want to hit that with you guys tonight as well. But dude, I'm looking forward to day two. What do you guys like? Everybody obviously is looking forward to pick seven, but like, am I the only one that's like way more interested in rounds two and three?
I'm right there with you, man. I think that there's a lot of value in that area of the draft. I don't think this is a super top heavy draft. Um, and we just like you've been preaching it for a while. We got holes to fill, man. Like even if it's not a hole, we have some very key depth pieces that we need. Like we're thin in position, so yeah, I think two like rounds two and three is going to be big, and we all have our eyes on people that we're really hoping fall to 42. And we're like, oh man, that'd be a steal. It'd be a great pickup. We all have our eyes on guys like that. So I'm very excited for rounds two and three, man. And doesn't hurt that we'll be streaming for that too. So I'm pretty excited about that too. That'll be a good show.
Yep. Well, hopefully there's a trade back when we're picking up more of those twos and threes. And I don't know if you guys saw what happened today, but Carr might be out for the year. He's got a shoulder injury. No, I don't know how he got it at this point, but he's potentially out for the season. Maybe someone is getting a little nervous now, and would be more willing to trade up. So we'll see how it all comes
Honestly,
together.
I, I I think that helped us out tremendously because like in my mind, and I think I heard Feria talking earlier, and he said, the Steelers would love to trade up, or the Steelers potentially could trade up to seven for Sanders. Um, and in my head, I'm thinking like, why trade to seven for Sanders? Because after seven, he could fall all the way to them. You know what I mean? That car injury, man, that puts the Saints in the QB market at nine. Um, and you're gonna have to get ahead of nine if you want. Potentially. Obvious. This is all speculatory, but what I'm saying is like seven is a destination for QB now because nine is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wonder, like with this coming draft, if the NFL teams are going to look at it like a lot of us look at it, a lot of the media does. Like everybody says, not a great quarterback draft. Are we going to go into it and it's going to be Cam Ward one, and then the next quarterback's drafted at 25 or something? It could be possible, man. So, um, but like you're saying, dude, whenever a team that's getting closer to the middle of the first round, when their starting quarterback goes out, that definitely ruffles some feathers. So unless they make some kind of big move or trade or something for a patchwork type of guy, I don't know. I mean, Joe Flacco just got signed, so he's out the door. So no Super Bowl for the Saints this year. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
You know what? It'd be wise for them to just get financially right for a change, man. But the chat's having at us on the Steeler trade up debate. I do know that, and I get that because why trade up when you can just wait? And I mean, it depends where, like, how big of a gap do you see after Ward? Is it Sanders and then a gap to everybody else, or is it just a big gap after Ward, and then it's everybody else. Like it's two schools of thought. Um, I'm hoping that there is like Ward gap, Sanders gap, everybody else, because then we might have some options.
Yeah, and the discourse between like with Milrow out there and Jackson Dart, I mean these guys, you're hearing everything from us at 7 to in the 50s or something for those guys, or even later maybe. So it's there's a couple wild cards right there that we have really have no idea about. Um, I'm worried that the quarterbacks aren't going to get drafted as high as we're hoping. You know, even Sanders, like he may drop into the teens or so. Like, um, I'm hoping that's not the case. Hopefully, three of them go before pick 7 even rolls around,
Yeah,
or at least two of them, and then somebody really wants the third, and we can trade down because I think this whole panel has agreed that trade down sounds like the most intriguing option this year in the draft. We want our picks, man. We want to build capital for next year. We want to build our team up a little bit too.
Facts. And,
agree.
and do you honestly? I think even the people that are on the Membu train, and I'm not one of them. Not that I wouldn't entertain Membu. The people on his train, the people on Warren's train, I think most of them would take a slide back before doing that. Like, I just think that unanimously on our fan base does want slide. It's just more so like, do you believe it can happen or not?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the tricky part. It's not up to us, right? Not up to the Jets. Takes a
Mm-hmm.
partner there.
Yeah, we saw that a couple drafts ago. I mean, you believe what you want. You believe this article or that article. Some of it could be Jets propaganda. Some of it could just be Rossini and them trying to bash the Jets. But you know, they talk like Joe Douglas made a blunder. You know, not being able to trade down. But then you hear like there was no options to trade down, and then you know you hear all these different things, and then you hear, oh no, that's who we wanted all along. You know that sounds like that propaganda, but we don't know.
Sure.
That's the
Yep.
thing that drives me nuts. I wish I knew. I wish I was a fly on the wall in those draft rooms, man. It'd
Facts.
be nice.
I mean, even the one pick slide we had last year, man, like we were able to parlay that into a nice little haul. Like we were. I know we spent some of it on trading up for Corley, which we don't know how that'll pan out. But yeah, hey, anything like if Carolina calls, I'm doing it. If New Orleans calls, I'm doing it. Now, I think the only time we start to argue is would you trade way back? That's where I feel like the real meat and potatoes of the argument is like would you trade back to the late 20s, you know, that, and we can get into that if you'd like. I personally I'd trade all the way out of round 1 if it was fair value. But again, like I said, we can discuss that.
That's a hell of a trade back.
That's what I
all the way
mean,
out,
like
all the way out around. I wonder what kind of compensation that was
Please.
like 7 to 35.
you
You
would
know,
get like a 2 now and a 1 and 2 later probably. Like it would just stack next year, but
that would
how
be nice.
bad, like at the same time you got to give Glenn something. And it leads me to my next question, and one I want to hear Scott's thoughts on for sure. Like we got to give Fields something, man. There's two schools of thought, and I think it's been widely speculated that we are going to give Fields and Glenn both something to help the offense, whether it's a tackle or a pass catcher. Um, Scott, I know you've been like real adamant that tight end is it's too rich at 7 to go tight end. Can you maybe like state your case why um or maybe give us another avenue. Like just speak on it, man. What do you think the best, like if you were GM and pick 7 rolls around, like what's your best case scenario? What's your like oh shit scenario? Just talk to us.
Oh shit scenario is Genty. Um, if he gets there, because I'm hearing people now, trade Brees, draft Genty. Um, I'm pushing. Well, I want to trade back first and foremost, if that's possible. And I'm not against a tight end necessarily at 7 most drafts. I just think there's too many solid tight ends this draft that they can get down the line. Um, and I'll just repeat myself, Dane. You've heard me say this before. If Membu is who some people think he is, man, how nice would it be to have those bookend tackles locked up for 10 years? I think you can still get a tight end and a receiver later on. So that's how I'm leaning, but trade back if we can. That's my first option if it were up to me.
See, and the key that you said there was Membu. If he's the guy, like I wish I knew he was Fashanu 2.0 on the other side. Like, because then I'm not even thinking tight end or wide receiver or anything else. I'm just taking the surefire. I'm not so sold. Um, but Daniel, what is your take? The same question. Like, I want, like, because we've hashed and rehashed this, but I think your opinion, like mine, probably changes and it morphs. As we get closer to draft, it should be getting damn near final. What's your damn near final take?
Well, the one thing I'll say is this year, like it in previous drafts, like I was locked into like one or two guys that I loved at that pick that I thought was reasonable and would make it that far. And there was always like one or two guys I was locked in, and I was like charging the train, buddy. I was like, let's go. Like, and this year, I'm just way more open, like I could see us going several different ways, and I wouldn't even be upset with a lot of the different ways that we go. And that's a weird stance for me because there's other drafts, I'm like, or no way in hell I want this guy. Like, why would we draft this guy? Why would we go with this position? Why would we do, this year I just feel differently about it, man. As far as like my damn near final, are we talking like a prediction or are we talking more just like what I want?
Like you're the GM. What are you hoping to see roll around to you at 7? Maybe what's your best case and what's your like what's your
Okay.
hope and what's your expectation kind of thing?
Well, the hope we've just got trade back to me is the hope. Like you really have to, like, you want to get more picks, man. I feel like we have a lot to do for like with this team, and when you have new regimes coming in, new coaches, new coaching staff, new front office, they really want to get their guys in there, and the more guys they get in there that they like, that fit their mindsets, their schemes, and things like that, the quicker they can get this thing rolling in the way they want to. So I think the more picks, the better. Over these first two drafts are super freaking important, man. So to me, the best case scenario is, we trade down to 13, 15, you know, gain an extra second or two, or I don't know, whatever it may be, and get some more picks. But what I can see happening, I don't know that the options will be there because, like I said, and I've said this before, 7 is a tricky spot, especially in a draft that's not super top heavy in talent. I think a lot of teams are going to be more willing to stick and pick. Um, so I don't see that scenario happening, and I think that we'll probably end up having to stick and pick. And my gut tells me they're probably going to go line. I think they probably are going to go O line. But I wouldn't be upset with Mimbu. Not crazy about Campbell at 7. Um, Tyler Warren, I'm kind of with you, Scott, on the like, dude, 7 is a little early for a tight end. But if they truly think he can be a difference maker and he ends up being a difference maker, not a single one of us are going to complain. Like if
Yeah,
he's
sure.
even if he's like a dollar store version of Travis Kelsey, like we haven't had even that. So we'll take it. Um, I still like Tet. I do like Tet. I think in a lot of drafts, Tet wouldn't be wide receiver one. A lot of the recent drafts, but um, I still think he'd be worth picking. In the mid to upper first round. So I'm fine with Tet. I'd be okay with Warren. I'd love it if we could drop back a couple spots at least for Warren. And I'd be fine with the meat and potatoes, man. I'd be fine with eating your veggies and taking Armand Mimbu as well. But trade back's number one. Shit scenario is like shit scenario would probably be, oh my god, we need so much. Is there a shit scenario? The only thing I can think of is if you did trade Brees
Quarterback.
Hall and you drafted Ashton Genty, but I don't even know if that's that bad of a scenario.
How about Dart?
Oh yeah, okay,
That's a
there you go.
shit
Yeah, there's
scenario.
your shit
I didn't
scenario. If we're
think about
drafting Dart at 7, um, I don't even know if I'm crazy about Sanders at 7, but
that.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no. That would be a shit scenario for sure, taking Jackson Dart that early. I'm not crazy about him, to be honest.
No.
Did that satisfy your question, Dane?
That did. 1 sec, I'm trying to load something up. Don't mind me.
Okay, he's producing.
Because
You
someone,
guys, you guys will enjoy Joe's take tomorrow. Um, this conversation, I don't know if you watched Asman at all earlier, but he was on there and he gave his take on who he thought would fit the Jets um, at 7. So anyway, I won't spoil it. Leave it for tomorrow.
and I think I mean I get that. I mean, if I'm placing odds at us even picking at 7, I don't know if it's 50%. Like most people saying that it's going to be too hard to slide back are assuming that we are going to demand like pinpoint accurate compensation to slide. And I think this is a year of any years where you don't exactly need that, if that makes sense. Like, I think we could take a little, like 80 cents on the dollar to slide to 10 to facilitate it, to slide to 11. Would we take a fourth instead of a third? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the key is like how much do you trust Muji for one? I am skeptical there, so it's tough, man. It's tough. I don't know if I trust him to just stick and pick is what I'm trying to say. Like maybe hedge your if you're not 100% sure who you want at 7, maybe hedge your bet and go get a fourth to slide down 3 spots. Then you got, another bullet in your chamber. Nick, welcome. I was having trouble getting the chats. I see some more coming in. Harlan, welcome. Glad you guys join us. Eddie McGuire, Wild Wave. The usual crew is here. I appreciate you guys. Hit the like button. And again, we'll be streaming tomorrow afternoon as well. We got Blewett coming on from Jets X Factor. But as far as right now, the question was asked in the chat, who might we target if we were to slide back? Like you said, I was producing. I went to the Beast, It's your go-to source right now for draft resource information, whatever. Dane Brugler, the athletic, hell of a guy, hell of a draft guy, I should say. These
How many
are his
how
top
many pages
prospects.
was that beast again?
It was over 500.
543 or something like that? Like Jesus Christ. Props to
And
you, Dane.
Dane, hey man, Danes are great, aren't they?
Danes are some good fellas. I got it. I got you on that.
I don't want to give away all his content for free because it is behind a paywall, but I'm just gonna take a sliver of one page right here just to spark conversation. If we were to slide, guys, somewhere in between down to, I don't know, 10 to 15. Now with a list of guys in front of you, say we're picking at 12. Is there a different set of guys that are then your 1 and 2?
Yes. I mean, if we're at 12, I don't see Membu making it. Campbell's probably not going to make it. I honestly don't think Johnson's going to make it to 12. I think he's a solid cornerback prospect. I don't think he's making it that far. Um, Tet probably isn't going to make it either. So if I'm looking at 12, I shift. If I'm thinking wide receiver, I'm shifting to Matthew Golden because I actually really like him a lot as a prospect. I 15 is a great. Yeah, that's a good job with him. Yeah, Matthew Golden. See, then you start thinking about edges too at that point. And even though we're not like in dire need of an edge, we really could use another guy to rotate in. Um, I don't know if you look at Shamar Stewart that high. Um, I'm I'm a big Mike Green guy. I'm not sure if he's what we'll be looking for. Maybe they're going to want more of a edge setter type edge, a guy that can kind of do it all, but he's very strong against the run. So maybe they'll look towards Shamar Stewart. I don't know. The fact that Colston Loveland is that high on his list is pretty interesting because I've seen
What
him
would
going
you,
second, late first. I don't know if I would go that high for him.
Scott? I want to hear your take on the same question, but Daniel, what would you do if they took Starks?
Um, I'd be shocked. I wouldn't be upset though, because like we haven't had a stud safety in so long. You know what I mean? Like if he turns into the next I don't know. The name's eluding me. The dude that got drafted to the Ravens, it was real like controversial. Everybody was like, "Oh, he's going to suck," and some people saw he was going to be great. Who am I thinking of? Regardless, um,
Kid from Notre
if he
Dame.
turns into the next stud safety dude, if we get a Justin Simmons type prospect or something, like hell yeah, man, I'm not going to be upset with it. But if it's in the top 10, like safety and running back are just a couple positions that in the top 10 I'm not thrilled about taking.
I would agree with that. Well, I can barely read this list. He's got Cam Ward at 13, so throw him up top, push everyone down. Um, I don't know if there's anyone else that's going to obviously jump up. Who knows? Maybe we're hoping a quarterback does. Um, so you're talking if we were at 12, Dane?
Yeah, yeah, just think of everybody you know that you've seen mocked to the top 10. Let's say they're all gone, and then you got the next few guys pretty much.
Well, I've been burned out on that for a few weeks now, so haven't really watched a mock in a while. But um, I Murph's guy Tet might be there, especially if we can get two quarterbacks. Um, I'd love to see, and I don't think it'll happen, Membu drop or Campbell drop. Um, but if you can get one of those guys, great. I still wouldn't want to go tight end that high, so I'm kind of with Murph. Maybe Ted or Golden.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to draft a safety that, you know, if you're down a little farther, maybe Will Johnson. Um,
Yeah, I don't
but
think he's going that late though.
You know
Personally,
yeah,
what?
yeah, maybe not. Um,
You know who is omitted from this list, and I kind of find interesting is a guy I thought would be in place of Golden, and that's Ibuka from Ohio State. A big debate, I guess, is who is wide receiver two in this draft. If you talk to Dom C, he has Golden outside of his top five wide receivers. He has Ibuka firmly planted at wide receiver two. Obviously, looking at this, Dane Brugler is not in the same pocket. Uh, do you guys have a preference? If it's Golden, if it's Ibuka, talk to me.
I
here's
there's three prospects I think that could be wide receiver too. Like it's just depends on who you talk to. There's Golden, Egbuka, and then Luther Burden. They're all very solid prospects. I'm actually shocked that Luther Burden's not on this top 26 list. It literally depends on who you're talking to. I like Golden personally the best. But I also like the other two guys. Um, I think I just like them later. You know what I mean? Like if we traded back to 26, I'd be fine with Egbuka, or something like that. And the thing about Egbuka is you kind of feel like, is he going to strictly be in the slot? And then how's that going to affect your roster? Like, I don't know. So it kind of depends on your needs and stuff. But personally, I just like Golden. I like his skill set a lot. Um, I like the offense that he came from, that he ran, and that he was in Texas and stuff like that. I think that's going to benefit him going to the pros. I don't know. I'm a Golden guy.
Scott, you sounded like you were going to chime in on that debate. What do you think of wide receiver two?
I was just gonna say, if you listen to Chris Sims, the number one receiver in this draft is, guess who?
Ted.
No,
Matthew Golden?
no, someone
Oh.
who, someone who everyone assumes is gonna play corner.
Oh,
Oh, well, yeah, for sure.
So,
For
so I
sure.
could say Tet's number two. Um, I don't know. You want the speed, or you want the size. I think both those guys are above Buka. Um, for me, I'd like, I'd, I'd like to see some size, especially we're assuming Lazard won't be here, right, Murph? Um, let's get someone with some size
yeah.
on the
You
outside.
know, I, the thing about it is too is there's some guys later that have size that I like.
Yeah,
So
Higgins.
like depending on how the draft falls, like even if Ted is available, if there's someone else that's available that can fill a hole, and you really feel like maybe a Jaden Higgins is going to be there at 42, do it. You know what I mean? Like because I think Jaden Higgins is a solid prospect too. I don't know. So and not just him. The what's that guy Beck, or I think it's
That
Beck. Betch, is it Betch or Beck? I don't know.
TCU. Yeah.
TCU, yeah.
Beck.
Um, and that's another prospect that's big guy that you know if you're looking for that type of prospect, there's some guys down there in that second, third, fourth round that you can snatch up. So it's not the end of the world, if your guy isn't there in the first round, even if we trade down. I don't know. That's the
My
one thing I'll point.
see,
There's prospects out there.
There are.
there is. Let me ask you this, because like I feel like when we were like win now, we really did want that contested catch guy to be our wide receiver too. Obviously, we went and got Mike Williams, tried that, but it is our biggest want in a pass catcher to be that the big body, the contested catch guy. Because like me, what I think our offense needs the most in a pass catcher right now is someone that can hit a home run. I'm not confident we have a single running back that can. We don't even have a damn tight end. Garrett Wilson, I've never been confident can hit a home run over the top. Maybe the stray Hall of Fame pass, maybe he'll get one. Um, it'd be nice for me. Like I want a burner. Like, and I get yes, you want the size, you want the contested catches and whatnot, but most of the time when you go for that, you're trading off size. You want like you're going like more the Anquan Bolden route where like you want a possession contested catch guy, not a deep you know what I'm trying to say here? Like most contested catch guys are intermediate and short. You know, I want a deep vertical threat. I think we can get that on day 3. So like, I don't know, man.
I
I
think you
get.
want both, right? Really.
Go ahead. Go
In a
ahead.
perfect world, you want both, right? I mean, not both in one player. Well, that's even better, but a big red zone target and someone who can stretch the field, which of course we've been saying for, a few years now. Um, that would be nice.
What I don't want is us to go sign Juju Smith Schuster after the draft, though. Like that, I would rather not have one than have one that's a has been or cooked. Like, if you're gonna go the cooked route, get me a possession guy. I'll take Keenan Allen, you know. But when it comes to burner, I want like 23-year-old hamstrings.
Well,
Yeah.
don't ask the Packers about that with their kid from North Dakota State who's a freak athlete who he cannot keep his hamstrings healthy.
Yeah. Something to be said for whenever you're running go routes all the time, you're pulling the old hammies, buddy. I know I would. You ask me to
Dan,
run 40 yards down a field full bore, I'm probably going to pull a hammy myself. Uh, I wanted to point out Jay Quest in here said we're going to scheme guys open this year. Um, I hope so, but my God, as a Jets fan, can we truly be like, yeah, well, we're just going to scheme guys open? You know what I mean? Can we truly believe that yet? Not until we see it. Engstrom, he's got some work to do. I'm not saying he can't do it. He's just a huge unknown right now.
Yeah.
And you know what helps an offensive coordinator? Having talented players on the offense, having weapons, man. So I'd rather not have to rely so heavily on his schemes and have a burner, have a big threat that can go up and get it. So hopefully we can just get some talent on this team and not really have to worry about scheming. I mean, hopefully they scheme well regardless, but I'm just saying good talent can supersede that.
Christopher mentioned Thornton. I think that he would be literally perfect for us. If you don't know him, research him before day 3 because I do think he'll be a target of ours. But yeah, Daniel, you pick one. You can only have one: contested catch or over the top guy.
I That's tough. I think that you like I was going to say with contested catch guys, a lot of times they're really not like that impactful unless you have one of the best, right? Unless you have a Mike Williams or the dude from Cincy, T. Higgins, unless you have a guy like that, it's like it feels boom or bust. Like either you got a good guy that's going to get you 1,200 yards, or you got a guy that maybe 300, or something yards. So, but the same thing can be said about burners too. Like there's a lot of burners out there that just don't get very many balls. Like, yeah, they might get two long touchdowns on the year, but have no impact aside from that, So unless you have a Tyreek Williams that's a burner, but is just freaking really good at football. Um, so it's the same thing with either or. But to me, man, I think speed is just. I love having speed on the team, man, because if you have a creative offensive coordinator, you can work with it, man. Yeah, you can give these guys jet sweeps. You can find ways to get them the ball in open space, and that speed can, if they just have a seam, dude, they could be gone. So I'm gonna go for speed there.
Call in line is posted, guys. If you want to chop it up, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Basically, it could be the last time you sound off before the draft. I know that tomorrow we have Blew It. Next week we have Snowball. So this very well might be the last time. Preach your pick 7 take and your pick 42 take via the link in the chat. Like I said, hit the like button. Uh, Lazard. Lazard. Yeah, there you go. That's a thumbs down.
Magic happening.
Yeah. Dane, how do I call in, dude?
You click the link in the chat. You know what? It is shown on screen. So go ahead and grab your keyboard, type this in, and
Okay.
you will be featured right next to me. Yeah, I mean the other conversation is if you were to part, like in any way, are you taking a running back in the first round or two?
I think we've both, Murph and I both said no thanks to that. But think about what Detroit did. Um, think about who's now coaching the Jets. Possibility? Maybe so. If they think he's that special, um, I'd be against it at 7 for sure.
Yeah, I mean 7 and 42. There's a big difference there, right? So if we traded Brees, then at 42, I'm like, you know, especially if maybe in I don't know Amari and Hampton or something drops down there, or there's some guys, but right now that's not what I have my sights set on. No, and if we have Brees on the team, I think it's basically pointless. I understand that the Lions, did what they did and they had David Montgomery and he was just coming off of a good season and stuff. But the Lions were also coming off a pretty solid season and they already had, a good foundation of a team built. So they had the leeway to do something like that, in my opinion. Um, so where we're at right now, like just laying the first levels of block for the foundation, I don't think so. I'm not real keen on that idea.
And that's what we have to remind ourselves, guys. And the title actually of this video is clarity coming. I I think the main point is like right now things are murky as hell. We have no idea what direction Muji and Glenn are gonna go. Like weapon, like once you see their draft class, though, I think it's gonna really clear things up. You're gonna be able to tell, do these guys have a 3 year vision? Do they have a 1 year vision? I think you'll be able to greatly tell by who they select. Honestly, I'm hoping for more the long view because, like Daniel just said, like laying blocks, like, and maybe that equates to taking the tackle. Maybe it does. I think it's highly dependent on what New England does it for. Even 5 and 6, I think, is gonna impact us greatly because then depending on how 5 and 6 go, then maybe we are trying to slide because someone else wants 7. But if things go a certain way at 5 and 6 and we have to, tackle might be the move. But yeah, what we know now versus what we know 3 weeks from now, night and day.
And what we know now versus what we knew 3 weeks ago. Remember when we all had our number 7 pick? Probably Murph kind of fell out of that one. I don't think Tet's going to go at 7 now, but either one of those two that we picked still could be 7.
True.
We'll see.
Tet is one of the most polarizing topics, it seems like, this year. Where could he go? Where does Shador go? Genty? Like, there are guys that could go 5 or 20. Maybe not Genty at 20, but, like, you know what I'm saying.
Sure, a lot of Genty to the Raiders talk going on.
And let me just, yeah, and Graham to Jacksonville. It's
Yep.
like you can just etch them into stone, but what if that doesn't happen? You know.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, New England, if they do go O line at 4, I don't think it will be Membu. It'll probably be Campbell, considering they just signed Morgan Moses. We'll see. But I think if you're taking Membu, you're going to try him at right tackle first, obviously. So with Morgan Moses there, they'd probably be more inclined to go with Campbell. So we might have the choice of Membu on our board or slide. I guess how my take has evolved, though, is I did want Warren. Now I want to slide then Warren. I don't, and I'm not saying, like, obviously I wanted that before too, but what I'm saying is, like, I don't think I'm okay with Warren at 7 anymore.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's kind of what Scott and I have been preaching for a while.
Right.
Not at 7. Like, we're fine with the player, fine with the guy, but not at 7. So,
Absolutely.
but beggars can't be choosers when it comes draft time. Like, we've seen that. So hopefully we could slide back if we wanted to, and hopefully nobody decides, hey, idiots, we're going to take them now. You drop below us, too bad. Could happen. I don't know, but I did want to make a little comment. You said 5 to 20, and you said well, maybe not Genty or whatever. Well, Najee Harris went 24th overall, and he was like looked at as one like the top running back of that class. So
Was he really?
True.
I don't remember who else was in that
I
class.
think he was. It was him and ETN. I thought were the top two.
Okay.
I
You know that he is the least impressive runner. It seems every time I watch, the Steelers. It's like this guy doesn't impress me at all.
I I wasn't crazy about him in college either, but man, he had a lot of hype coming into the draft that year.
I, I think people were trying to equate him to King Henry, and he's not. He's not that.
Yes, I think you're right about that. Yeah, I liked ETN that year, but he's been okay, but he hasn't really done all that great either, to be honest with you.
No, he hasn't.
Guys have been a little
He
disappointed.
he killed me in fantasy football last year. FYI.
Yeah, yeah, you and me both, buddy. Dane, what
One
did you
thing,
call it? The Tank Bigsby and ETN? You called it something. I can't remember what it was. Where you're just like
uh,
stuck in this loop of fuckery where you can't get it right.
true. You just pick the wrong guy every time, and
It was
when you
bad.
try to outsmart yourself, then you're wrong the other way. It just never works. um, yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Hold on, I'm getting some feedback.
Jay.
Jay, yeah, Jay's in the chat. He has been very anti tight end at 7, probably the loudest about it. And I guess my rebuttal to that is if you're taking a top five guy in the draft at 7, who cares if it's tight end? But at the same time, like, we don't know what their plan is for the offense. Like, I would hate for them to take a top five guy in Warren at 7 and then just use him to be a regular or tight end. Like, if you're going to take him at 7, I expect you to be creative as hell, have him moving him all over the offense. He's doing some wildcat. He is in line, all the whole kit and caboodle, however that's said. But like until we see this OC, the coach, everything, for me to say do it, I should be more like Jay and say don't do it until we know more. Then you can entertain it next year.
It's interesting. There's more people coming out saying his blocking is not what was presented to us in the beginning. He's an okay blocker. He's not this, people are making him sound like he could play tackle. Um, so I'm starting
Yes,
to hear more and more of that. And you guys might hear a little bit of that tomorrow. Um, we'll see.
facts.
So, the thing about it is too, if you really want to dive into it, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure if you take a tight end at 7, he's going to be one of the highest paid tight ends in the league. And another another common thing that's said about tight ends is that they're usually slow play. They don't usually make an impact their rookie year. I mean, obviously Laporta was a different case, but most of the time those guys build up for a couple years before they ever really hit it off. And it's like, do you waste 2 or 3 years of a rookie contract paying this guy as if he's one of the top tight ends in the league whenever he's not quite producing that way yet? I don't know, man. So there's a lot of things to consider about it, and that's why I'm like, if we're taking tight end, drop back first. Like if we're going to take them, at least get back to 12 or something first before you decide to do that. That's just the way I look at it.
Historically, and I could have this wrong, but it seems like first round picks who are successful, offensive linemen are the highest at that. I wonder where tight ends fall.
As far
But
as bust rate,
yeah, bust rate, success rate. Um, I'd be curious about that. Although, how many tight ends do we see go in the first? Um, but they say linemen are the safest. Offensive linemen are the safest.
yeah. Yeah, I've preached that a couple times on this show. I remember the guy that brought it up was our 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 beloved Damian Woody was on like ESPN, one of those shows, and he was preaching, like offensive linemen in the first round, they have the highest success rate, this and that. And I was like, really? So I like naturally I Googled it, and sure enough, um, offensive linemen, had the highest success rate. But I'm not sure about tight end. I might look it up in a second. Is that pick
Uh,
7 really?
yeah, we went over this like a month or so ago. I
Higher
don't
than
blame you for I don't blame you for forgetting, but what I will say is it won't make him the highest paid tight end, but by year 4, he's going to be up there. He'll be getting paid more than Hunter Henry. Uh, what I will say is like this is a cheap tight end, but can you imagine if it's a cheap right tackle? Like that's where it comes into play. Like we're talking relatively speaking. When this can be any position we draft, maybe don't throw it at a tight end because like could you imagine if this was a QB salary and it became our starter? Like we would have a massive advantage. The same goes to say OT versus tight end, But yeah, it is fully guaranteed. Whoever we're taking is getting all 4 years of this.
Make it
Wow.
count.
So, um, that was definitely lower than I thought. But like you said, when you get into year four, and especially if you do a fifth year option, they will be probably, a top 10 tight end, as far as pay in the league, maybe. Um, and then you wonder if it's worth it. But hopefully by that time they'd be producing. If not, then you really have problems. Not as bad as I thought. I will admit I might have spouted off there a little nonsensical. I could have swore it was a little higher than that. But I did look up the tight end. This is just one little graph I see right here between 2010 2019. Um, there were 9 players drafted, and the top top 10, or I guess it's first round, for tight end, right? 0 made an All Pro selection. Um, so it's the worst, the actual worst hit rate. 0 of 9, 0%. That's, yeah. Um, but this one has running back as the top. So center and guard were second and third. But, offensive line still up there.
Just all pros though. That's all
That's
they're
just
gauging.
all pros. Yeah. So it's a
Okay,
little different. I mean,
Right.
different graph. It depends what you consider a bust. That's obviously a subjective term.
You
fair.
can be a good player and not be an all pro.
Yeah, exactly. Or Pro Bowl. You can make a Pro Bowl and not be an All Pro. So
Yeah.
I see that sunset, Scott. I see you.
Yeah. Get a good
flexing
one
that.
every now and then. Sunrises are actually better. Oh. Yeah.
Well, chat, if you have any interesting topics that you really want to hear us sound off on, throw it in the chat. I'm checking it now. I also threw the link down there. I know Nick T was asking for it earlier. He might have popped out though, but when he comes back, it'll be there. Um, yeah, man. Again, what, 2 weeks away now? 2 weeks from now, we will be round two of the draft. Actually, we'll be in round three. We'll have two new studs, hopefully.
I
So
hope
it'll
I'm
be
happier
interesting.
than I hope I'm happier than last year. I wasn't really thrilled with last year's draft. Um,
Hey, looking back at it, you might not have been too far off either.
I heard Johnny say Scott didn't like any of them. Not true. I liked the first pick. I did like the first pick.
I was so fucking mad. Just the way that it played out. It wasn't even that I was so mad at Fashanu, like, necessarily. I was like, okay, he's a decent prospect. I just, man, I wanted a receiver so damn bad, and we didn't have a choice at the top guys. I was not
Yeah.
happy. I was at Permane Brothers cussing. Like, I was,
How'd you feel
you
about
know,
the Corley pick at the time?
I was actually excited, to be honest with you. I I wasn't as high on Corley as like John. Johnny was a big Corley guy.
As the Jets?
Um, but I was like, dude, it's that late in the draft. Like, yeah, sure. I mean, he seems like he's a talented dude. If they can figure out how to work with him, that's But that's the thing, they didn't, because they're the fucking Jets. So
And that's the thing that, like, because we saw those truck sticks that he hit on film, and then like we very quickly saw that they were mostly against bum teams. But what really got me amped about Corley is like the whole one Jets drive. Oh, we were trying like hell to get him, and then Salah on the phone. We have a plan to how to use you, dude. Not it was all smoke
Yeah,
and
what was
mirrors.
that plan? Yeah.
Yeah, garbage. Um, but if we can get our wide receiver four on our board this year, I think I would be even more excited than last year, assuming it's true. Christopher Byers, though, which is killing it in the chat, man. I appreciate you being here for sure. he mentions two names that I think I would be ecstatic to have, and I want to hear what Scott has to say about them as well. Uh, well, Hawes is a third that I would love to have, but Ferguson, tight end out of the Oregon Ducks. Um, the other one I am more sweet on than Membu myself, Connerly. What do you think about us getting one or both?
You're starting to sound like me with all this duck stuff, Dane. Um, and I know you just want Ferguson so you can say turd Ferguson all the time. But I'd be happy if either one of those guys on the team. Depends on where you take him, of course, but that's kind of my tight end point. You know, he could get him in the Ferguson in the third round, maybe fourth round. Um, so
Ran like a 4.6. Ooh.
and I watched the Ducks a lot, of course. I admit it. I'm I'm Ricky of the Ducks. Um, but that dude makes a lot of clutch catches for them. When they needed a first down, he made a lot of catches. What's up, Sean?
What's up, Sean? Um, Hawes, dude, you've been preaching Hawes. I have only watched a very, very small amount, like a very small clip of him. Um, I'd be fine with him, but he's not a very highly what is he? Third or later, probably
Like a fifth. Yeah.
fifth. That's what I was. Yeah, I was thinking he was like fifth, sixth. So, um, yeah, dude. Yeah, why? Hell yeah. But
He's the blocker, right? He's the guy that blocks his ass off. Not much of
yeah.
a receiver, but blocks his ass
Fer-
off.
Ferguson, based on what I'm just mostly what I'm hearing from you guys, he had a good combine. I do know that. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna talk out my ass on that one either. But he seems talented, so I wouldn't be against that either. One name that does stand out. A lot of these other names, I'm not going to speak on. You know, like Connerly Jr. I've heard of him. I haven't had a chance to look him up or do anything on him, but I do like Josh Simmons. You guys know, I watch a little Ohio State here and there or whatever, but Simmons, I do like him as a prospect, but I don't know if I like him at 7.
Right.
That's so, but that goes with a lot of those guys.
Trade
Dude,
back.
if we could slide back a lot though, like again, I mentioned before trading out of round one. I doubt that's even possible. But if we could trade into the 20s, all of a sudden number one on my board is Connerly, who some people have as tackle one on their board. The fact that he is not higher than like fringe top 30 is just bonkers to me. I think he would be great, literally completing this O line. Um, but again, I've said it before. If you want to complete this O line, then you go and you sign AVT as well. So you got to do both.
And dude, if you signed him right now, is he going to cost that much?
Nope.
You know, I think he'll get a starting guard salary. You know what I mean? He'll get a solid uh, contract, but right now it would be the time. Like if you're going to commit to him right now, dude.
Yeah.
Get him on the cheap because that's a guy that has all pro potential. Maybe he wasn't quite as good last year as we are hoping, but he's after those injuries, he was still trying to get back in the game. You get a couple years under your belt, relatively healthy, he can get back into form, man. Because his rookie year and beyond, dude, he was looking solid. He was looking like he was going to be an all pro guard for sure.
You know,
So
he's the type of guy though that I could see going in 6 years being playing every game. I just think he's just bad luck, man. So like you said, sign him now. Unless you think he's not going to be able to put 17 together this year. That's a whole nother story. But consult your doctors and then move accordingly.
Well, and he's a good locker room guy, and there is value to that as well.
Yes, I agree with that. That's another reason why. Like, if you're going to take a flyer on a guy with injury history, at least take a flyer on a guy that you know is like a good locker room guy, good guy to have around. At the very least, at least he has the intangible aspects of it, plus the talent. I I went to look up a guy because I've seen Christopher Byers. He's mentioned him a couple times. That Ozzy Trapilo.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you say it. And first of all, initially when I saw that, I thought he was making some kind of like being like Johnny and making some kind of trap joke. So, and then I'm like, oh no, this is a real player because he's mentioned it twice now. So I looked him up. I have no idea who this dude is. Boston College, I guess he's an offensive lineman. The one thing is like I shed a tear when I look up draft prospects now because it's like they were born in 2001. I'm like, what? Oh my god! Like they can drink now? Like they're old enough to do what's going on? So like 10 years after I was born, these guys are born, and they're about to go to the NFL. So yeah, I don't know anything about Ozzy Trapilo, but I'm gonna have to put him on the list apparently because Byers has been letting us know he's
Yeah.
killing it in that.
Yeah. And I, we had Dom on a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, we focused more on the first round or two of prospects, but Dom is a guy I follow on Twitter, and I'm often in the same Twitter spaces as him. So I get to hear a lot of Dom. And Trapillo, is a guy that I hear him talk about a lot. So, needless to say, I think he will be at least somewhere high on our board. I just don't know. You never know. You could want a guy until your pick is ready. You don't know if it's even in the range of where you're picking, if he's even going to be an option. Um, but yeah, tell us why you like him. Maybe a nugget or two why. That would be cool. Scott, we see the beard, man. We see the beard in full
It's
force.
it's glow in the dark. Um,
The beard is going in the dark.
but
I'm not going to ask you how you achieved that.
um, well, and he's one of those guys, like Sean mentioned, he's one of those guys who might be able to get in the third. Could be a great value.
That's why I would love to have two thirds, because it seems like there's quite a few guys in a third that are gonna they could be massive contributors on this roster. But not only that, like imagine the guys we have in the second that fall to the third. Like because the draft, you never know. Most of these guys are either going to go around earlier or around later than what consensus thought, and that's all we're doing. We're thinking. So I don't know. I just Hayes asked why we look so tired, man. Draft fatigue. I chalk it up to. We've been rehashing the same, and we just go once a week, man. Could you imagine if we did daily? No, no, man, no. Uh,
That's crazy.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
I want to see our 90 like I want to see our 90-man roster because then the real conversations start. I like speculating who I think won't make the roster, the 53. And then like hey, now we know how we stack up against others, but right now we don't even have a 90 man. So it's tough. It's tough. We lean on the chat though, and guys like Christopher Byer who are helping us with talking points. Sean McAteer great with talking points as well, because otherwise what I don't want to do is just talk pick seven all day every day. Which, dude, can you blame us if we did? Every channel is doing it. Every conversation that's jet related is doing it, because it's important, but it gets old. It gets old.
Yeah. I just, and it's tough because it's a new regime, man, and we just really don't know what to expect from these guys. Like, like I'm very intrigued to see what our offense is going to look like. Like not necessarily the production, just like how they're going to run the offense cuz I just don't know like who's to say that it's going to be exactly like Ben Johnson's Detroit style offense? Like we don't know that. He may want to do something totally different. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a lot of play action. I feel like we're going to be a team that wants to run the ball, but I don't know that. You know,
And odds are too, odds are too that Angstrand and Glenn both had visions of their offense before they even met Ben Johnson. So the fact that like we're just gonna be mini Detroit 2.0 is just wild to me. I think that they'll take some elements, yes, but there are some that are saying we're gonna take Membu because they took Penny Sewell, and that's just the model, and the model is gonna be copied. No, I don't believe that. I don't. I think that some elements could be copied. But for the most part, these guys are going to do whatever the hell they think will build their team and have it run the way they want the best.
how many times did you see us being linked to players and free agency from Detroit, right? And how many guys did we actually land? You know,
I
so
don't think any until Reynolds.
yeah, yeah. So it's like, we can't expect these guys to just follow that exact blueprint. Like they're going to want to do their own thing, and so it's hard to judge what we're going to be looking at or what we're even going to be looking for until we've seen these guys and how they want to run the offense. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how it unfolds. Um, not necessarily excited to see the production of this year because I don't think there's going to be a lot of production, positive production at least. But you can at least get an idea of what they're going to be trying to build towards. You know, why is the thumb there? Because I talk with my hands. Okay. Um, I went like this. I was drinking my beer and thumbed up. Um, so yeah, I just want to see how it unfolds this year, and then like next year, I feel like we'll have a better idea going into the draft, going into free agency. Like, oh, what's this team need? What does this team want to do that they weren't able to do last year because they didn't have the right guys? Um, I think it'll be exciting then because that's going to be the year where they're hoping that some of the foundation is built and then they're going to start adding pieces and really building the framework back to the
Scott,
house and that.
I have to step away for 30 seconds, but I want to hear Scott's take maybe on what he envisions this season to be like. Honestly, I'm hoping for a 2024 Pittsburgh Steeler type of season. Am I crazy? You tell me. But Scott, talk to us.
You're crazy as hell, Dane. Um, yeah, I'm not expecting much. I'm in the same camp as Murph. Um, now, start moving in the right direction. 2026. That's what I'm building for. I don't want them to do anything they think that's going to make them better this coming season. I want them looking to 2026. I think Dane mentioned that earlier. Build for that. We, I don't, Murph. What are you expecting out of our new quarterback?
Not much, to be honest. Like
Same here.
excitement, maybe. I'll be there in a minute, buddy. Um, excitement. I think he'll be exciting player to watch, but I don't know that like it's going to necessarily result or like produce results that we're looking for. It's like you said though, like when the approach that they take this year in the draft, I think needs to be like, okay, we don't need to get that nice that nice decor item for our living room. Like maybe let's get the walls put up and painted first. Like let's get this drywall set, get it mudded. Like I keep going to the house analogy. I just to me like you get something that maybe won't make the biggest difference this year, but over the course of the long run will make the difference, right? Like you have that foundation set. So and that's why we go back and we talk about eating your veggies and stuff like that. Like I'm not going to be upset at all if we go O-line, man. Because having bookend tackles for a decade or something would be amazing. You
Oh, yeah.
know,
Yep.
not having to worry about that would be great. So
When
I'm not
even
upset at all.
even Coach Glenn has kind of changed his tune. Remember early on it was we're gonna win next season. That's what we're here to do. That now it's kind of more like, okay, we're gonna change the culture and we're gonna build, which is to me, we're not expecting to necessarily win next year. They're gonna try like hell to win, but
Yeah.
his tune has definitely changed since he got hired.
You know, and that's the thing. Like, I would, dude. How do I want to phrase this? Like, it's tough because the fan base deserves some winning games. But at the same time, like, you can go for splashes that'll allow you to win games in 2025, but then have you starting another drought in 2026. I'm willing to lose a little more this year if it means that there is no second drought. And I think that, like, or at least I hope that a lot of our people in this chat are the same way. Like, we want to build the right way, the smart way, and the sustainable way. So, like, maybe Tet is off the board this year. Maybe we'll go for a Tet next year. Um, and it's hard to argue with the people that say if you are implementing a new offense, a new defense, trying to reset a culture, it's hard to argue with the people that say you start in the trenches because they're probably right. Um, does that mean trenches at 7? Maybe. If it's not at 7, I think by 42 we are taking at least one trench player. Um,
I would agree with that.
you know, what's the smart? Honestly, and they said this when they signed Josh Myers for center, backup center, or whatever. We don't even care what you're playing. We're just acquiring talent. I think they'll do that at 7. They'll just acquire the best guy.
So you think best player available?
Yeah, but the only thing that gives me pause is a tight end, I guess, because you guys are talking me out of it. He's probably going to be the best player on their big board. But do you have it as a tie with Membu? Do you have it as a tie with Campbell?
And by you mean the Jets.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, my thought is a good offensive line makes all the other players better. Quarterback, running backs, receivers. It doesn't really happen the other way around.
True.
And there's a chance. There's a chance in 2026. There's a rookie quarterback starting for the Jets.
Yeah, there is.
Give him as good a line as possible. But any quarterback is going to benefit from the line. But a rookie needs that help more than anybody. I mean, Fields might be there, but they have an out after 1 year with Fields.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. they didn't give him a contract that speaks, yeah, this is our guy. They can say whatever they want, but that contract does not really reflect that.
I'm with you. I mean, they could always get both. They could get Tyler Warren, and then, after the draft, they could go sign the top tackle on the market, Tyron Smith.
God, not again.
No, you know what my hope is? Go Tyler Warren, and then you draft Connerly, even if you have to trade up. Maybe you slide to 10, take Warren, and then use a little of what you got to trade up at 42 and take Connerly. And if you got Warren and Connerly, home run to me.
That would be good because so. Well, you're a Warren guy, of course. So let's say that versus Membu, and then what tight end will still be left at 42? Probably not Loveland, right?
Right. I
Who's
don't know how high Harold Fannin is, but I hear a lot of love for Fannin.
a lot of that too. As long as you don't want him to block. Apparently, I don't know. I've never watched the guy play.
Chat, help us out with pick 42 tight end targets. But I get what you're saying. You take Membu, maybe.
Well, I would. The hard thing is to assume anyone is going to be available 35, 40 picks later.
True.
These drafts all go different than all these mock drafts we've been watching for how many weeks now.
You know what they don't, like, the mock drafts don't account for either, that is factual and happens all the time, is a run on a position.
Yeah.
We could get to pick 40 and all of a sudden, or let's say 37, and all of a sudden 4 tight ends go. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
So Mason Taylor, that's a name. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, Membu Taylor versus Warren Connerly. I think Connerly, is a pipe dream to pair with Warren, because again, you'd have to slide and trade up. But
does he get to 42?
Nah. I think he'll go late 20s, early 30s at the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
What do you have an opinion on QB3?
I'd like to see them draft a guy in the later rounds. I don't see Jordan Travis on the team. This staff didn't draft him. He can't get healthy.
Yeah.
And there's been some of the other nonsense from his agent, I guess. And yeah, I like Will Howard in the 5th round or something.
So like, do you have obviously there's Milrow, there's Howard, there's Gabriel, I'm sure I'm missing guys, Dart.
Well, I'm assuming,
who do you love? Who do you hate?
I'm assuming Milrow and Dart are going to go higher than I would want to take a quarterback. I love my Ducks, but he's just too small. This is a big man's league.
Among other things, yeah.
It's not that little guys can't make it, but they don't too often. So you know what? I'm fine not drafting a quarterback and just picking someone up as there's going to be guys cut and during preseason, picking someone up that maybe even has a little more experience, but they're not gonna need him. Knock on wood. Tyron will be on after this year, so got to start thinking about that too.
True.
Who's gonna be a backup quarterback in 2026?
Say they take a quarterback in the fifth, okay, and say Jordan Travis heals up and puts together a training camp. Are you okay with those two guys competing through the preseason for QB3?
Sure,
So
absolutely.
you're not totally out on Travis. It's more so you just don't trust he'll even be ready to compete.
Well, no, I'm not high on him, but we're talking about the third string quarterback here.
Yeah, we are. Correct.
So,
We are.
you know, let him compete. I mean, that's what every player. I wish they were letting Tyrod compete
Yeah.
first team, but
Good point.
that's not happening apparently.
Yeah, I tell you one thing though, you're right. This regime did not draft him, and if he is not healthy by July, whatever date camp starts, if he's not healthy, he won't even be on the team, if not sooner.
Well,
Um,
and you know I'm assuming Angstrom studied him already, and he may have an opinion of him that the guy can't play, or I really like this kid, and we don't know what that is. So we'll
Good
see.
point.
Yeah.
Murph, what say you? So, the original question that spawned the conversation Scott and I just had was, do you have a preference on who in the draft QB3 is?
Ugh. Uh,
And I'm gonna say
I'm
that
not
one
crazy
and
about these.
two is
Yeah, Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders is 1 and 2, and I'll give you that. Like for sure, I kind of think that maybe Kyle McCord. I might be a little higher on him than I am Jackson Dart. Um, Jackson Dart, man, he's just too happy feet for me. I don't. He. I don't think he's going to handle the pressure in the NFL. Like these edge rushers are real deal in the NFL. So I don't know. I guess Kyle McCord. I like Will Howard. I just don't know if, as far as a prospect, that he's better than those other guys. Like I think he has some limitations. I don't know. Yeah, I guess Kyle McCord.
there's another one too, Riley Leonard, that gets a lot of love. I know Frankie from U Stadium really high on that kid. I didn't see him, unfortunately. Uh,
Uh,
Dart. See, like my original take was Sanders would be better served being drafted in the second round. I feel like Dart would be better served drafted in the third round. Do I think either of those statements will be true? No. They're not going to happen. But if Dart was a third round pick, I would entertain it at 72. I'm not going to get that opportunity. So that it's a shame because Will Howard in the fourth. Will I get that opportunity? I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing: the guy that intrigues me the most, Jalen Milrow. I think that I would take him at
I can't believe I
72.
forgot about Jalen Milrow.
If he's there at 72, am I crazy to pull the trigger?
If he's there that late, no, because there's definitely he's got tools in the toolbox. I'm not confident that he's going to become a starting quarterback in the NFL, but I think that he's got a chance. You know what I mean? I think that there's some guys that just don't even have a chance, right? Like
Yeah.
you can label and split this up to guys that don't have a chance. Best bet is career backup, and then you have guys that like have the ability to be, a number one, but it's like, can they put it together? Milrow is one of those guys that could, but I'm not confident that he will. you know, um, I guess you could even say Jackson Dart could. Kyle McCord probably could. I don't. Will Howard maybe. He's not quite as talented as those other guys, but I do like what I see out of him. And I just I like guys that have been in multiple systems too in college. I think that really does help their transition to the pros. So I think that's another reason why I like him. But I don't know. Yeah, I you're not crazy. 72, dude. Because a lot of people are saying first round. Like late
Yeah.
first for him. So 72, that feels like a steal to me because that's a flyer. But yeah, you're only giving up a third for a guy that has a chance.
So Murph, I'm hearing from my Pittsburgh people that they are high on Milrow. Don't know if you're hearing that back there, but just
Mostly, I'm hearing frustration with Aaron Rodgers from Pittsburgh people. That's mostly what I'm hearing right now.
plenty of that too.
And I'm like, welcome to the club, fellas. Welcome to the club.
He didn't do the Jets like this at all.
I know, but there's always something with him, though. You know what I mean? It's always drug out with him because we were always wondering, like, is he coming to the Jets or whatever? And then he did the big Pat McAfee thing, and he announced it. It was like a big spectacle. It's always a big spectacle with him. He can't help himself. I don't blame him. He's having fun with it. Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, the Jets, weren't they still trying to work out the whole trade package?
It was literally the week of the draft that he finalized. He finally said it the week of the draft. So that's what, 2 more weeks? They might have to wait. And here's another thing you mentioned, like, he had a chance the other night. McAfee's big night out in Pittsburgh. I thought for sure he would announce it then. So the fact that he didn't on national stage in Pittsburgh has me wondering. But without further ado, we do have a guest in the green room I want to get to, guys. If you're in the chat, please hit the like button. Appreciate the obviously chill night, and we got the real people here, and we appreciate you. But without further ado, like I said, call-in lines open. Posted in the chat. We got our first guy of the night. No, we don't. He's gone.
He's here and he's gone.
Just like Rodgers in Pittsburgh.
Dude, I looked in the green room and it was Joe Namath sitting there, guys. You just missed him.
Oh,
just missed him.
Yep. Just missed out, guys. Sorry.
But I'm sure he'll call back. But go ahead.
Yeah. Pittsburgh, I mean, honestly, the Pittsburgh fan base isn't even thrilled about getting Rodgers. So you can understand that they're even more frustrated over the one guy that they weren't even that crazy about getting in the first place is like dragging them on. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're not thrilled at all.
It's funny too, like we talked about Pittsburgh Nation, Steel Nation, whatever you want to call it, Steel City, whatever. I don't know. They're casuals for the most part, unless they're in town and season ticket holders. I'm not lumping those people in with who I'm talking about, but the outskirts of Pittsburgh people are casuals, and I get what you just said. Not happy, don't want Aaron. Then I also got, before I moved, jealousy that we got him, and it's like, you guys are casual. Like, it's hard to have a real conversation. But my buddy back in Pittsburgh was jealous for sure that the Jets got Rodgers. Then made fun of me all 2 years long. And then when they had a chance of getting him, was excited as hell. So it's like the heel turn.
You know what I've been seeing with Pittsburgh fans? Pittsburgh, the organization, really, they kind of think they are more special than they are. Like, it's such an honor to come for the Steelers. Well, they're not the the 1970s Steelers anymore. And I said it to you, Dane, one time. To me, they're a team walking a fine line between mediocrity and the abyss. And
TJ Watt is the only thing keeping them out of an abyss.
their defense was shit down the stretch last year. And if you're Aaron Rodgers, it's like, man, do I want to be there when they finally fall off the ledge? Is that really where I want to be? So who knows what's going on? I'm holding to my guns. He's going to retire. That's what I think.
I'm kind of hoping he does.
Yeah, and the thing about it, like, that frustrates me is like, I think part of the reason they've held on as long as they are is I do think Mike Tomlin is a good coach. And the fact that, like, speaking of their casuals, like their casual takes is like they were hot and heavy on getting rid of him, man. The last 2 years, there's been a lot of talks about it amongst the fan base, and it's crazy because, like, as Jets fans, we're like, dude, 9 wins, 10 wins, what? Like, yeah, let's go, I honestly, I think he needs a change of scenery, and I think they should let him go. But I think that the Steelers fans would be crazy to think that that's what they, need to do. I just hope that Aaron Glenn can be our Mike Tomlin, like, just our guy that we have for fucking 10, 12, 15 years. And, we're in the playoffs for the majority of the time and maybe even win a Super Bowl at some point during that time. Like, I just would love to have some good consistency and a coach that always builds a coaching staff that seems to know what they're doing, and they develop players. Like, it doesn't matter if they're a first round pick, a fourth round pick, or undrafted free agent. Like, they always seem to develop players under their scheme and produce, And then if they get too high and mighty and they want too much money, you send them on the way, and then here comes some other no name guy that nobody fucking knows, and they 10, 12 sacks that year, and it's like, wait, what? Who was this guy? Like, oh, now he's sitting on the bench for 2 years and they developed him. I don't know. That's what I want, man.
You want a scheme. I mean, and promising returns on what Glenn did last year. That was pretty cool because it was like more about the scheme than the players playing. And if we could have that paired with the talent we do have, because I mean, if you listen to the national media, they are still intrigued by this roster. So for us to say we have talent on this roster isn't just us being, biased. There is talent on this team. If Glenn can come in and install a system that doesn't need superstars, then we can supplement our stars with anyone because the scheme will be good. And that's what we need. We need to be okay to have a hole or two in year one, maybe 5 holes, because the scheme will make the weak links better, and that is what we hope. If Glenn can pull it off, man.
Tell me, can you name 2 starting secondary players on the Pittsburgh Steelers last year?
No, I couldn't.
Point proven. I was just proving your own point there, buddy. Yeah. Like, they got TJ Watt, and they got maybe a couple other, like, really solid pieces. That I'm forgetting the defensive tackle's name. It's been really good for a long time for them.
Cameron Hayward.
Yes, Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and then everybody else is just like, we'll just plug these guys in and it'll work. I know that Scott said that their defense did kind of fall off towards the end of last year. Okay, but for the most part, like, they still win games, though,
Yes.
And it's just crazy. Oh, yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter.
I'm just going to say Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, there's 2 of them right there, but you probably could name 3. I took it easy on Dane with 2.
Yeah, thanks, because when I'm live streaming, I'm sure I can think of everything I could when I'm not live streaming. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, no.
Well, I took it easy on you because I was initially going to
You
say
did.
3. I was like, I'll take it easy and see.
Porter, I should have known. Porter for sure. It would take me a minute for Fitzpatrick, but you're right, man. Like they don't lose. Like when was the last time you seen the Steelers get blown out? You know, like
Not very often.
yeah, you don't. And if we could just find a way to bring our bottom level play up, that's what I all I want to see is our stars to be able to star. You know. Um,
Wait, didn't we watch a blowout in Pittsburgh last year? Oh no, that's right. That was us getting blown out. Yeah, never mind. Never mind, guys.
yeah, the game we were up double digits and then we lost by 30.
Yeah.
You believe that? We were up double digits and then
Yeah.
we lost by 30.
Had to deal with drunken Steelers fans falling on us and shit. That was
Yeah.
good time. Good time.
Uh,
You probably hate terrible towels now, don't you?
oh, dude, I have since like third grade. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that that fucking guy swinging that towel.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
even. Was it even a terrible towel? He was swinging like a shirt or a towel or something, and it
It
was
was something. So
like you're about
imagine,
to burn down the steps.
yeah, chat, imagine this. You know how stadium seating is. Each row goes up a few feet, right? So imagine someone is in front of you, in the row in front of you. They're like 2 feet below you, right? Um, Scott, let me bring you back. They're 2 feet below me, but when they swing a terrible towel in the row in front of me, it's literally about whipping my nose every. Yeah, I about went crazy, man.
Well, at least you didn't have some
Anyways,
lady yelling STEELERS in your face. That was
yeah. Next to the guy whipping his towel across my nose was a girl who stood on her chair, turned around in Daniel's face, and chanted Steelers right to him face to face
like I
after a
wonder if she
Steeler
realized.
touchdown.
I wonder if she realized, like, when you get about 5 letters deep, it's too long. Like, just give up. Like, like you're slurring your letters already, lady. Come on. That's why we're
Uh,
smart as Jets fans. We got 4 letters. It's all we got to remember. We can get it out before we start stumbling on our words.
Yeah,
Boomtown.
I got an interesting football tidbit for you guys. I heard today on NFL radio. Not Jet related, not Steeler related. The New Orleans Saints haven't spent a first round draft pick on a quarterback in 53 years. Archie Manning was the last one. Could change this year with the car injury, possibly, but that's something.
I really do think that car injury improved the likelihood that we can slide back.
For sure. Boom.
And I just want to reiterate, like, because let's face it, the audience we have right now is not the same that we had an hour and a half ago. So I do want to hit that one more time. Like you said, Scott, the Saints. I mean, it came out today. Carr may not play this year.
Yeah.
And we saw what Rattler did last year. I mean, Rattler last year in preseason looked great. But then they had to start him for regular season action several games in a row, and he did not look great at all. So, yeah. If you want a quarterback, maybe whether it's QB2 or QB3, you may have to hop New Orleans. And guess what? We're at 7. We're in front of New Orleans. So is Carolina, who I don't know. They might be a destination too. But we're in front of Carolina too. I don't think Vegas wants to slide. I don't think Jacksonville will. But I think we will, and I think Carolina could.
Yeah, and that's a good point bringing up Carolina too, because with that little bit of a surgence of Bryce Young last year, I'm still not sold on him necessarily, but I think the Panthers at this point they have to try to invest in him, right, and see just to see, right. So I don't. So they're not looking for a quarterback. So I'd say they're willing to trade down if they get some good assets out of it. Um, the car injury is definitely interesting. That makes a difference because if somebody really is looking, if Sanders drops, it could get real interesting. Because if somebody wants their quarterback, they're willing to give up more. You know.
Well, and once again, the staff that's there now is not the staff that brought Carr in. So.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I mean, hell, correct me if I'm wrong, but they restructured to give him more guaranteed money, and he was adamant against doing anything else. Like he basically got more guarantees out of them. Now he gets a phantom injury in the middle of the offseason. Like that's sus as hell. If you ask me, if it wasn't for the Deshaun Watson deal, we'd be talking about Carr as one of the worst in the NFL history.
Yeah, because that was a freaking solid contract they gave him too. Um, I guess it's like Scott, you kind of brought this all up too, talking about the Saints. They haven't drafted a quarterback early since Archie Manning way back in the day. Um, they can't rely on that luck of signing a quarterback from another team like they did with Drew Brees. Like that was luck of the they got really lucky there, luck of the draw. And the only reason that Breeze got let go is because of the injuries, right? The shoulder.
And he wanted
Um,
and he wanted to go to Miami, but they wouldn't pass him on a physical.
Nick Saban wanted him in Miami. Nick Saban, the goat of all college coaches, from like 15 minutes down the road from where I live, um, wanted him, and his freaking crew, his physicians wouldn't pass him to sign him, so he had to move on to somebody else, and so yeah, the story of it ain't easy being breezy down in New Orleans began. But you can't expect to keep getting lucky like that. And they thought they were. They thought they were getting clever by snatching up Derek Carr. They're like, oh, he's underutilized. He's not utilized correctly in Las Vegas. He could be even better than what he was. And well,
Same guy.
maybe not.
In hindsight, would you rather us have gotten Carr, knowing what you know now, Carr or Rodgers?
In hindsight, I wouldn't have chosen to be a Jets fan. But I
He says while making his kid a Jet fan.
he's got to pay too.
He might have been Sam Darnold some better coaching.
Sam Darnold was he available at the same time?
No, I'm just saying, giving him a better chance. Never drafted.
Oh.
But we'll see. He's had one good year. It could end up being his only good year.
Wait a second. That offseason, wasn't Baker Mayfield available? That was before he went to the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
my
I think
hindsight
he was.
for you. There's my fucking hindsight for you. That's who I wanted all along, guys. Don't listen to any of the old videos or tapes that I had. I do like Baker. I always, but I don't know. Yeah.
Baker, yeah. I would kill to watch him for 17 games be my quarterback. I mean, would I think that we would hoist? Maybe not. But I wouldn't, like, that's how you bring the floor up, man. And in my opinion, rather than us raise ceilings, we need to bring the floor up. We've won less than 20 games the last 3 seasons combined. 51 games, we have not won 20.
pitiful, dude. And I hate it too because like I'll look up like all time statistics and it's like all time wins or losses record, and I just see like we have a losing percentage, guys. Like we don't have a winning percentage, we have a losing percentage. The majority of our games have been losses, and that gap keeps getting bigger every year because we're going, at best 7-10, but or 4-13, and it's like, oh my god, like that's horrible. Like other teams have seasons like every third season they'll win 11 or 12 games, not us, not lately, and it's just so frustrating, man. It really is.
How much time is Coach Glenn going to get to have a winning team? How many seasons?
A winning season? I think his third season is going to be paramount. Uh, if you ask me, 6, 8, 10. That's your goal, but I do hope he wins more than 6 this year.
I don't care how many they win this year. I really don't. Unless they win 12 or something, which, come on, let's be real. That would be cool. But this season kind of doesn't matter. Like we've talked about, start building the foundation. You got to show progress in 2026 by play on the field and wins in the win column.
So let me ask you guys, if I'm not even going to throw out hypotheticals of what the records are, but if we have a better record this coming year than we do in 2026, do you think he gets fired?
I'm with Dane. I think he'd get another year. I mean, Woody's not firing people that quick normally, right?
I
I mean,
mean, if you ask, good. I was
ahead.
just gonna say that we've won 7. We went 7-10, 7-10, 5-12. Can we just get 8 wins, man? Like, just give me 8
That's
wins.
8 wins is a good goal for 2026.
What
And then
if we get 8? What if we get 8 wins this year and then we get 5 next year? Do you think he
There,
keeps his job?
there's no excuse to go 3 wins down. You are like, there's not. I'm sorry. That's
well,
a fail.
what if they are solid season, 8 wins, and then Fields has a good year, Tyrod's gone, you got whoever backing him up, and Fields blows out his knee week 2. Is that different if you get 5 wins then?
I just don't think there's any excuse, man. I think you gotta make sure you have a solid enough backup to handle it. Like,
Honestly, outside of quarterback, the rest of the team with the culture, the discipline, the accountability you put in place, outside of quarterback should be able to get 6 wins. If the quarterback is good, 3 to 4 more. But I don't. We should not get another 5-4 win season, 3 wins. Like 5 wins is a joke. Like
We're the Jets.
I'm barely hanging on here, man.
They got 5 wins with like the third best quarterback season in Jets history.
Yeah, but we also lost like 7 games, 1 possession or less. Like
Yeah,
that's the key. Like we
true.
could if we split them, we'd be 500.
I don't see, back to Murph's question. I don't see Glenn being gone unless they get like 3 wins in 2 years or something ridiculous. Or it just becomes a joke, kind of a shit show that's just totally embarrassing.
yeah, I just think that like I think the way you put it, Dane, is like that's way like if you have good coaching and stuff, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. You should at least have 6 wins, right? I think that I don't want to see us drafting within the top 10 again. Like under, if we have a good coach, I don't think we should ever draft in the top 10 again, right? Now, if like this season we draft 12, that's okay. Okay. We won 7, 8 games, whatever. Like we're drafting 12. All right. But we don't need to be in that top 10 anymore. Like if you're going to do what you're saying you're going to do and you're going to develop players and you're going to have a hard-nosed disciplined team that's going to go out there, they're going to play physical, they're going to play good ball, like you don't need to be drafted in the top 10 anymore. So I don't want to see that anymore. That's my big thing.
Murph, can we put that off until the 2027 draft? Because there might be some good quarterbacks in the top 10 next year, I'm hearing.
Then we got to trade up to get them.
Okay.
Why we need to trade back this year?
Get a one next year.
I mean, honestly, pick 7 should be the best one we ever see again.
Oh my God. You guys, it's like you're not even Jets fans.
Delusional, as Hayes would say. We are delusional. Hey, should versus would versus could. 3 different things. I will say Barney Miller in the chat came in piping hot. He said we're going to have 9 or 10 wins. He guarantees it. And you know what?
After that.
Yeah, he came down real quick after he heard us talking. But I will say, you laughed at me, Scott, when I said that we could have a 2024 Steeler-like season. I don't know, though. Like, if you're disciplined and all that jazz, sound football, why can't we be 500? And then Fields makes some plays. I mean, all I'm saying is if Breece Hall perks up, Garrett is utilized correctly, we get number 7 overall and 42 to contribute. Our O-line gels. We are there. 9 wins.
Oh my God, you're high. But aren't you trading Breece, Dane?
That's a lot of ifs, Scott. A lot of ifs.
Rule. But aren't you trading Breece, Dane?
I'm not before week 5.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because I'm not getting what I want before then. So, yeah. Fuck it. I mean, if you call me with a top 100 pick, though, okay, yes. But otherwise, I mean, it's a thing. Like, if you scroll back to when we were talking in August, okay, we all had 12 wins, 14 wins, some of us. That was assuming we were a ball control offense, right? Then we didn't know. I mean, we didn't know how can you predict anything without knowing how the offense is going to be called? If we are a ball control, I'm going to say it again. Like back then, if we passed second and A-Rod saved his arm for the playoffs, I did expect 12 wins. Now, if we do the same model, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, Breece Hall, dink and dunk Garrett Wilson, Fields making plays, we can get to 10 wins. I'm saying it again. But only if you play that kind of offense. If you have Fields throwing it like you had Rodgers throwing it, we're going to be higher than pick 7 next year.
So are you assuming we're going to see the 2023 defense rather than the 2024 defense? And we're going to have kickers, or at least hopefully one kicker that consistently makes kicks. I mean, of course, it's a lot more involved than the offense and the power running game.
Yeah, I mean,
because if the defense doesn't stop people, then he's
True.
going to be throwing more, and we don't want that.
Good point. That maybe that is what dictated it last year was the defense. Maybe.
Well, the thing about last year, the defense was at their worst in the biggest moments when we could win a game. And that was so frustrating. They
and
could
that
shut
what
down for 3 quarters and then give up 2 fourth quarter touchdowns. Like it was a different team out there. It was so weird.
honestly at the beginning of games too they didn't want to tackle either. Like there was many times where I felt like Sherwood was the only guy that stepped up and was ready to play in the first quarter. It was crazy.
Well,
um
Glenn's not going to put up with that shit. You know,
and
better.
that's
So it seems.
to answer your question, do I expect to have the same defense again? That same lack of discipline, whatever you want to call it, in big moments. I don't. I don't expect to see Sauce Gardner giving up a game-winning catch to a guy named Booty. Okay, I don't. I don't know if we can get back to 2022, 2023 defense. We have enough too, and we're adding to it to get there because, dude, we got 3 foundational players on defense. Some could say more than that. So I think it's going to be closer to the 2023 defense as far as performance goes than 2024. But that's still a large spectrum.
Sure. And you know,
I'm
it's
calling it right now. It's going to be a Jason Myers resurgence here for us. Oh yeah, like 88, 90% accuracy on field goals.
That's a
Yeah.
whole nother, yeah.
Yeah, going to be resurgence this year, and guess what? We're not going to re-sign him next year. He's going to have
See,
a career year, and we're going to let him. Did I say? Who did I say? I said Jason Myers, didn't I?
You
meant
did.
Legatron. I meant Legatron.
Wow. Yeah, because I knew that. I thought you were talking kicker, but then I'm like, maybe he means the center we took named Myers.
No, I meant Legatron. My mind was thinking how we had a career year from Jason Myers and we let him go. And then I was thinking of the same thing's going to happen, but I said the wrong name. Yeah, Legatron's going to have nice little career year for us, and then we're going to let him go.
Is he still on the roster?
Yeah, he signed a 2-year deal. See, and Chris Byers, hopefully I can call you Chris. He says a lot of what I was saying as well. He said our offense can tailor to Justin Fields' strengths, etc. Pass, run, like combo of Detroit offense, Ben Johnson, run, pass options, etc. Bootlegs, absolutely. Hey Eddie, you're awesome. End quote. But like,
at least part of that quote's right.
Yeah, exactly. He, you know, if you're going to relate it to Detroit, he doesn't throw the ball like Goff. He's not at all the quarterback Goff is as far as his dropping back, reading a defense, throwing the ball. Now he's got other skills Goff doesn't have, but it's going to be different than Detroit. And it has to be different than Detroit.
well, we tried to get this guy on the show earlier, but I think he struggled with Ricky New York Wi-Fi, and he bounced off a few times. I'm gonna try him again, see what he has to say, because we could use a little pick me up. And this guy, he definitely brings energy. Without further ado, let's hear what he has to say. Bring on Nick T. How are you,
What's
brother?
up, fellas? Bringing
What's up,
that
Nick?
big, got to bring that big Nick energy for you guys. What you guys falling asleep on a Friday night? What the fuck, man?
You
I'm old.
teased us with a little Nick earlier, and then you just left. And
Eh,
you know,
Yeah, flopped out the little neck, just a little
yeah.
teaser.
And
Just
then
a
you
tip.
put it away, and then we're like, oh shit.
Just a tip.
Glad it's back out though.
What's up, guys? Happy Friday.
Cheers, sir. Is that a bottle of water, Scott? What are you doing?
It is. It's water.
Cheers, brother. Nick, I don't know how many topics you heard us cover, but there's not many fresh ones this week. I know Lazard taking a pay cut, yes. Whether or not you want Genty at 7 is another, but that's an old topic as well. But what do you want to talk about, man?
Oh man, I like the pay cut because you're paying Lazard. Like, I don't think he's not terrible. Like, as a secondary receiver, he's not like the worst option you can have. He started at least a couple dozen games, so like, I'm not opposed to that whole deal. Like, to me, this team is all based off of running the ball, and we've talked about this before. Like, there's only 50 plays you can have offensively in a game, probably, right? In a perfect scenario. This team's going to run the ball 60% of the time. That's 30 plays, right? I don't give a shit who it is. Justin Fields, Braylon Allen, Brees Hall, Isaiah Davis, Corley, whoever, right? That's 30 plays. So we're only talking about 20 plays. And 10 of those at least, and we all play fantasy football. Everyone watches all the shit. 10 of those throws are going to Garrett Wilson. So to me, what Alan Lazard, that whole scenario, like Lazard taking a pay cut, whether it's Reynolds coming in, we're looking collectively to replace probably 10, at max 15 plays. So I'll take 2 to 3 throws to Alan Lazard, 2 to 3 throws to Josh Reynolds. Rucker can take 2 to 3 more, like 1 to 2 more throws than he normally gets. Like, I'm okay with that. So to me, this was a very positive, like very light and very jet centric. This is what I want this team to be. Like, everyone gets excited and beats off about all the headlines of who's coming here, who we signed. Who gives a shit about winning the offseason? It's about winning the regular season. And we have a coach, and let's support this coach as such, who understands the big picture. And he's a coach who's been here. He was drafted by our organization. He knows what it's like to suffer as a Jet and overcome it. And he knows what it takes to change the culture. So sometimes it's guys that people are underrate and think aren't the greatest signings, right? Like the guys like Stevens, like these corners that play into your system. You don't need 2 stud corners. You just need someone. There's only one football. Someone who the 3 times a game that it gets thrown to them is going to knock that fucker down. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's all about the scheme and the coaching. And I think that some of these moves that are made are so quiet that they're brilliant. And let's just wait and see, because let all the other teams make the noise for once.
Yeah.
Please let the Giants draft Shadir. Please, I'm praying for the Giants to draft Shadir Sanders at 3 and just make the next 2 years the most glorious. Because watch, I guarantee you, if the Giants draft Shadir, the Jets are gonna, because of the limelight, that takes all the spotlight. Just do what you need to do. There's a component of just, again, I don't know about you, but I don't like people watching me when I do my job. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it. I'm self-assured. Let me do my job. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm going to do it.
Ignore me. Ignore me and it'll be done. But like, it sounds like you're like me with the free agency acquisitions where it's more about ROI. It's not about like this enormous impact that you pay buku bucks to get. It's about getting more than you put in. So if you put 2 million in to a guy that is going to give you 3 million value, that's a
Yeah.
home run, you know? And I feel like it's a lot easier to get ROI on the under the radar signings than it is if you pay a guy 20 million a year to come in. You may get that 20 million a year impact back, but you also may get 10 million or 5 million, and then you're way behind. So what do you think of that as far as the under the radar stuff? Is it more ROI to you?
Well, look at DJ Reed. DJ Reed's a great example of that. Like, we signed him for, I don't even know what is his contract. Actually, that'd be a fun one to look up. But like, he probably was making like 6-7 million max because he was making dick anywhere else. So like, he came in, the scheme worked for him. It was solid scheme. He understood. Here's a kid that's entering the prime of his career. I'll give him a contract for the next 3 years, knowing what he could do. And look what happened. And now he's going to get paid like probably like a number one corner, and good for him. But again, that's recognizing the talent. Like, I worry to an extent, like when you talk about like scheme and stuff like that. But like, I worry to an extent because Baltimore is a great defensive scheme, and like Steven, like where he came from, everyone's like, oh yeah, get him out of here. But there's some level of like, I don't know, there certain schemes like are predicated off pressure and things like that. So maybe there's press coverage that works better for certain schemes. Like Baltimore is very blitz oriented, so maybe he wasn't, like there's certain plays that I'm sure we all saw, like where the guy runs by him, but like zone coverage is clearly not you know, his strength. So coming here, I think Aaron Glenn's going to run a lot more press coverage. So, okay, maybe he doesn't get exposed as much as he did in Baltimore in certain schemes. So I think at the end of the day, there's 11 players on the field, both sides. And that's what matters the most is what's the scheme you're working? Is everyone playing their role? Like you can have 5 guys on the defensive line get 6 sacks because they're running stunts and doing everything. That means you have a great scheme to me. So like, I don't know. I'm very biased to some extent because Aaron Glenn was my favorite. I'll admit this. Aaron Glenn was my favorite Jets player, and I think Aaron Glenn is going to be very good for this program. I think he understands the value of what it means to be a New Yorker and like this area and what this football means to this city. And he's worked his ass off, and he knows how much it's not like you just come in and just have success immediately. He worked under Parcells. He knows what it takes to change a culture, and that's what we need. And that's ultimately what I fall back on is you need a culture changer in this organization, and I think we have one.
Okay, hold on, Nick. So I gotta ask you just flat out, are you happy that we had Alan Lazard take that pay cut and we're keeping him? Yes or no?
Versus like anything
No,
else, yeah.
yes or no? Come on, are you
Yeah,
happy? You're
I'm fine.
wrong.
No. Here's why I disagree with it because tell me where. No. But like, I'll push back on you. Explain to me where you'll find a wide receiver with 20 games of starting experience for less than $1.5 million a year.
But it's $1.5 million
Who cares if he
guaranteed.
has starting experience? Was it good?
True.
Don't matter.
I mean, I don't know.
Everyone in the NFL. I don't
Some guys are a net negative. It doesn't just because they get out on the field doesn't mean it's good.
What Daniel's saying is he can still underperform to make it bad.
Yeah, but so could a rookie.
I'm just saying that I'm a hater of Sir Alan Lazard. and I don't want him on this fucking team. Anyway, so on to
But,
your other
no,
point.
no, no,
I'm really
wait,
Nick.
stop it.
I'm clowning, dude.
I
I'm
know,
clowning. Okay.
but like, oh man, I love fun. I
What
love having fun with you guys though. Like,
what
just
I
to
can I
have
chime
a
in
debate.
though, and I will say that Lazard 1 point whatever that was guaranteed. He's still a 4.6 million cap hit. I just want to make that clear. He's still a 4.6 million dollar receiver, which changes things a little.
Mm.
He has to play, and we have to keep him to get to 4.6, but he's definitely getting the 1.5 guaranteed.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So I'll give it to you. He can
That
play
makes
till he drops a ball. Cut his
honestly,
ass as soon as he drops the first pass.
Murph.
Don't
Honestly,
even
that you should have
mid
said
game cut his
that. Made
ass. I don't
to be
care.
to be honest, that made more of your point for you. You shouldn't have said anything. I would have agreed with you if you said cut him for 4.6 million. I'd be like, yeah, no, not for 4.6 million, but like for 1.5, yes. Like so, like actually, like yeah, like it's because that's the name of the game, right? Like, but like I don't know. To me, it's like it just again. I know he's a Rodgers guy, and like his success is mostly predicated on Rodgers, but like it's a starting receiver, and I don't think anywhere else you're getting a starting receiver for that money. And that's at this point in this stage in free agency and everything else, and especially with the identity of this team, he's a tall wide receiver. He's a good blocker. So for what this team is going to do, he fits the bill.
Yeah, I just the thing is I don't want him to be a starting receiver. Like I get what you're saying. Like the value would be good if you consider him a starting. I just don't want him starting on my team. You know what I mean?
No,
If if he gets a couple snaps a game, I'm not upset about it. But anything beyond that, my God, I can't do it. But I did want to go back to what I kind of interrupted you and took you away from your original point. You were talking about Aaron Glenn, and how he fits, what we need. I will say I agree. Like we do need like not necessarily. I mean, yeah, I guess a culture shift, but it's just the discipline is really what we need, right? And we need somebody that really wants to focus on developing the players because something that we did here with Sala was like, I don't need to tell these guys how to do their job, like, or something of the sort. Like, we heard quotes like that, right, with Sala.
man.
And I liked Sala, right? Like, I thought, like, Sala was a good dude, and I thought he kind of had it right, but he was missing on some very important aspects of the job. Um, so I think that Glenn, like if he's gonna stick by what he's saying right now and how he wants to have like a disciplined team, he wants to have a culture, he's not gonna deal with this media shit, like he's gonna get this team on track, he's gonna develop these players. That is what you need, right? Like that's the type of coach that you need. But the thing is like everybody says a lot when they first start. And then when they get deep in the trenches and they start getting overwhelmed with the job because there's so much to it, is it going to stay that way? And I hope it does because I like Aaron Glenn. I like him as a player. I like him as a man. You know, um,
Hmm.
I hope it sticks with that because like you said, like I've said, like I just said, we have coaches that come in, they have this outline of what they want to do, and then once they start actually getting into the job of it, they kind of lose it. You know.
I don't think he's gonna. I think he's the type of guy. Like again, you have to take into account like he was drafted by Parcells. He learned from Parcells. Parcells was not a media guy,
True.
and that's what I hold my hat on is the fact that like he learned from one of the all-time greats of changing culture, and he even says it like, and this is the best quote he ever said. I forget who he said it. Um, that was Bill Parcells. I'm Aaron Glenn, and he gets the difference between I learned from them, but I'm my own person, and like that's the difference. Today's NFL is completely different from what it was 30 years ago, but he understands that there's a level of like accountability that needs to be had to be successful, and then there's also a level of like, all right, like coddling, for lack of a better term, right? In today's society, we're like, yes, I can praise you for your successes and move on from that. And that's like something that I think Parcells, Belichick, they don't do that shit. And the
And he also learned from Sean Payton. And the quote you just referenced, he also said the same kind of quote about being a defensive coach. He said, "No, I wasn't. Yeah, I was a defensive coach. Now I'm just a coach. I'm a coach, you know." And he spent the last 4 years, he said, learning offense. Scott, I want to hear from you. Do you have anything to chime in on the Lazard debate as far as what Nick was talking about?
Well, there's a spot for him on the team right now because let's face it, the receiving core is ass. Hopefully, they improve it, and there's not a spot for him. But right now, there is.
Hey, and at that salary, we can move him now. You know, we'll have to eat some dead money, but we said it earlier. Like
Does
for
anybody,
that,
does anybody really want him?
well, maybe mid-season. I mean, maybe wherever we. I guess we got to hope that Aaron Rodgers signs somewhere, and then week 6 he is having a hissy fit because he can't get synchronized with his wide receivers, which we saw. I mean, Green Bay saw it when he was there at the tail end. Sinking is a problem, and someone might value having Lazard come week 7 if they're still in the mix.
let Pittsburgh deal with that problem. Come on, just go ahead.
Hey, that's where we should send Lazard. I'll trade him for Pickens straight up.
Sean, that is hilarious, man. Lazard being on the team has to give Corley hope.
Well, but
See, you're setting a bad precedent there too. Like if you keep
Yeah.
Lazard, then you're setting a bad precedent for the rest of the team. Like, oh yeah, you can be total hot garbage and still have a spot on this team. Don't we want discipline on this team, guys? Sheesh.
I know,
Seriously.
but like also, hey Nick, I know you
Hey,
gotta run, brother. Good talking to you, man. Good
no,
talking
no,
to
no,
you as
no,
always.
guys, always a pleasure. I've made you a part of my Friday nights. I enjoy chatting with you all. Always a blast. Open conversation. Pleasure
See
as
you next
always.
Friday. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. All right.
Take care, guys.
Later, brother. Yep.
Easy, Nick.
See. Dude, Lazard topic. It is one. I mean, it's for that price. Can he outperform it? Yeah, he could give us twice the value of his contract. How many New York Jets can say that? How many players on our roster can we get twice the value out of as what we're paying them? Not many.
Well, he outperformed
But
last year, right?
did he?
Not last year's contract, but if he put up the same
Oh,
Yeah. with this contract, he outperforms that. Now, that's not going to happen.
what scares me is
Yeah.
I just learned that Reynolds drops balls too, and it's just scaring the hell out of me.
You know, even Adams was dropping balls when he came here. It was like, geez.
I think there's just so many receivers out there, draft picks, undrafted free agents, like just no name guys. If you force feed them enough fucking balls, they're going to perform as well as fucking Lazard did last year. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think that Lazard did so much for that production. Like, wide open balls, like I don't know, just I didn't see anything spectacular. The dude is not running crisp routes out here getting open, and like it's not. It's just like if you force feed Bring Denzel Mims back, and he's going to give you that fucking production. Like, I'm sorry, if you force feed somebody balls like Aaron was to Lazard earlier this year, he would have gave you the same thing at least. So I
What
just
what if he's only targeted when he's open and he just blocks the hell out of things?
Murph's not going for it,
you
Dane.
can't find
Bro,
somebody else
hey,
that too.
I would hate to remind you guys that I did mention that restructuring Lazard was a possibility, although I thought that we would tack on a year and turn it into a 2-year deal. And yeah, we didn't do that. Let's just be thankful we didn't do that.
It is not set in stone that he's on this team this year, though.
No,
That's
it's
what
not.
I'm going to say.
For sure.
So there's still hope, guys.
And one could argue that it's just stupid to have 4.5 million dead next year. Like, why sign up for more dead in 2026 that
See,
you
I
didn't
didn't know
have?
that about the contract. See, that pisses me off more now. So, yeah.
I don't know if the dead was already there. I just know it's there now. But when you restructure, usually it does equate to dead money. So it had to increase it. It had to. It's the only way
Well,
you lower it.
well, they didn't label it like, at least when they announced it, they announced it like as a pay cut, not a restructure. So that could be different. Pay
I,
cuts can
I
mean entirely new contracts. Like,
agreed. Schefter reported it one way. Spot Track reported it. Eventually, I did see where there was restructuring. Let me see if I can find it. But another thing that's funny is Spot Track is the one that actually broke the news. They were first. And
really,
I think that
wow,
is amazing. Yes, yes.
good for
Um,
them. Good for Spot Track.
Good for no leaks in One Jet's drive.
Yeah, well, I'm not getting my hopes up with all that. We'll see. They're still getting to know the beat reporters, guys. Give give it a year, and there'll be all kinds of leaks. Also, they fired like half the staff in the building, so, or potentially let them go. I don't know. Did we ever get a follow up on that? Like the 178? Like, how many? I wonder how many took that severance.
I
Uh,
did not. I did not hear of who actually accepted it. Yeah, it is restructured contract. 8.5 mil pay cut.
That is a pretty significant pay cut, though. I mean, I'll give it to you, but I just don't want him on the team at all.
It went from 11 mil this year. He was scheduled to make 11, and then it went down to 8.5 million less. Would be what, 2.5, with 1.75 guaranteed. But when you look at Spot Track, it's weird. When you look at Spot Track, it has the cap hit is 4.6. So I don't know, man. This shit's confusing because
That could
11.
kind of fucking
Good.
dead cap from last year, though, or something, maybe added to his
The point of, at least we saved 8.5 million, and it seems like we're saving all this money. What are we gonna do with the money?
Hey,
That
ABT.
Yeah. Well, that'll save us money. Damn it. Because
but
right now,
there's a few guys that need extensions,
yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
possibly large extensions.
I mean,
Yeah,
they wouldn't kick in though, but I guess you could roll this money over, maybe.
they got all kinds of tricks.
Yeah.
I wonder what the like average starting guard salary is in the NFL.
Yeah.
Because I only imagine it's what 10 or 12 million a year.
I mean, if you're talking all 64 guards and then you average them,
Yeah. Yeah, it's the start. Yeah, the starting guards. If you average all
yeah.
of them together, I mean, obviously there's rookie contracts in there and stuff, but like then you also have the outlier guys that are making 20 plus million a year and stuff. Um,
Yeah, probably around 10.
I would say 10 or 12. Yeah, for sure.
Why are you going to give a speculatory AVT deal to
I'm
us?
just saying, if you save 8.5, why not give that extra 2 mil and re-sign ABT? Right?
Yeah. I mean, right now he is like 14 million and it's all on the cap because we tendered him. He's on his 5th year option. So it's all cap. If you can come to an agreement with him, it's going to come like his cap number is going to come way down. You're going to get another 10 mil in cap space probably. Unless you can front load it, I wouldn't mind that. Give him a massive year one
What
and
is
then
Sid's
have
contract looking like?
Simpson. Ooh, good question. Simpson deserves an extension. Maybe not a long one.
I'm looking on Spot Track right now. I'm not looking at Simpson in particular. I'm just looking in general.
I got
Uh,
Simpson. Simpson was a 2-year deal for 12 mil.
Ooh,
This year he is 6.7 mil. Would you
yeah.
hey man, I don't know. But I think the people that want to draft O line, I think they should be harping that we need to extend our guards as well. And I'm fine extending Simpson. I'm fine extending AVT. Are either of you in the grouping that say no, don't extend AVT? Force him to prove he can stay healthy again.
No.
No, no.
I want it to be somewhat team friendly. Whatever the hell that means, you know. um, but yeah, I'm with you. Extend both those guys.
Yeah.
But if he wants top market, you say you got to play on that 15, 14 mil, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, so I'm gonna throw a few names out here, and I'm gonna give you their APY, which doesn't mean that's what they're making this year. It's just APY. Here's a name for you. Graham Glasgow is making 6,666,667. I don't know what 6.6, regardless, million a year. Makai Becton is at 10, but that's a brand new. That's a new contract, so it's going to be a little higher. James Daniels is at 8 million a year. Ezra Cleveland 8. Trey Pipkins is at 7.2 million. I mean, these are names that you recognize, right? Um, I'm just giving you guys in that ballpark. Jermaine Illuminor, I think that's how you say his name. He's at 7 million a year, and then you have guys like Joel Batonio, like he's a stud, so he's getting 15 million a year. But I'm just saying, you could get a Patrick McCarry is at 12 and a half. I think you could get ABT at like 10 or 11, honestly.
I think you can get Simpson for 2 for 16, or
I was gonna say 8. Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah.
8 million. Yeah.
And then if you told me you're doing that today, I would say draft a tackle. or a tackle guard. I would say complete it because then I know it's all five for a few years. But until I know that the O line we have in 2026 is the same we're going to have in 2025, I have reservations. Like, I want him to fully commit to the idea. Don't just half ass it and then tell me you need to draft a guard next year.
Yeah, I would love the idea of knowing that, like, after this offseason, we don't have to worry about the offensive line at all for 2 or 3 years at least, you
Yeah.
know? Because once that foundation is built and you have at least a decent offensive line, I'm not going to sit here and predict those guys are going to be like top 8 or anything, but like, a top 15 unit maybe. Um, you can just focus on everything else. You can focus on building your offense and structuring like the type of weapons and things that you want to integrate into your scheme. Like, I think that will help. And then once you have those guys and the offensive line start dropping off and stuff, you can start drafting guys to replace and things like that. But you already have that foundation built for the most part. And I think that sounds glorious to me, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Well, they look good down the stretch once we got Tyron Smith out of there. Like,
Yeah.
They were a lot better.
you and how, like, run that back, but if you're telling me all you got to do is replace Morgan Moses, okay, I can do that. I can do, like, and if we drafted one high, we would be better off than we were at the end of last year. Um, I do hope that whoever we do draft to add to the O line is a road grader more, just because I think we're going to be a run heavy team.
Well, here's the thing about last year. They were better pass blockers than run blockers. Are they going to magically be better? Now, I know you watch Baldy. He was just like, what are they doing? What's the scheme there? Like, so hopefully better coaching is going to help as well. But they weren't a very good run blocking team last year. And
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 yeah,
Memphis supposedly, I mean, based on what I was watching Blewett today, he's a better pass blocker than run blocker, but he feels like he can grow there. So, going to be an interesting season. And that's one thing that we need to keep in mind. Hopefully, the coaching staff change is going to be more important than any of the player personnel changes. I mean, we've all heard it and we've all said it. The coaching's been terrible.
dude, if every player is 10% better because of the coaching,
Yeah.
and you add another draft class in and you kick guys like Tyron Smith to the curb, yeah, you lose Devontae Adams and Rogers, but like I feel like if you get 10% out of even just the stars on this team, it could be massive change. And there are even some national media people who said if things break right, we could see the fastest turnaround ever. Like, and I don't disagree if things break right.
You say if too much, Dane. Um, well,
all right.
the good thing is, well, shit, we do need to replace the right tackle. I was just saying the only real bust was Tyron. Um, we did lose our right tackle. Hopefully, we can replace him, but everything else is solid in there, right there. Simpson, we didn't know if Simpson was going to work out or not, and now we want to extend him. That's great.
See, I'm a little more hesitant about Simpson, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be upset over it, but like we've only seen 1 year out of the guy, and like I'm not gonna sit here and say that he had a great year, but he did have a solid year for us, right? I'm okay with his play on our line. Like if we extended him and he kept up that at least that amount, like that level of O line play, I'm okay with it. But who's to say that he won't dip? Who's to say that that wasn't like an anomaly for him? Like you see guys that some guys careers are roller coasters. Like they'll have a great year, a shitty year, great year, a shitty year, whatever. Um, I don't know. So I'm a little more hesitant about Simpson. AVT, we know he has talent to be all pro. Simpson, we don't know that he has talent to be all pro. We just know that he can be solid.
And he's an enforcer too, man. How many times did he get in guys' faces that got in our face?
Yeah, I
Like
did like that. So it kind of comes down to money at that point. Like if you're getting a good deal out of him, yeah, sure, extend him. But if he's trying to command like I don't want to say top dollar, but like a decent contract out of us, then it's a little worrisome at that point.
fair, fair. I guess we should just move Titman and AVT out and take a center in like the third round, and we'll just complete our line that way, right? Then we can draft a weapon at 7 and 42.
Let's see if we can get 5 centers across draft 2.
5 guards, we can make it work.
Yeah.
Uh,
You know what? I think I'm gonna pack on 50 pounds and I might try out left guard.
I think Chaos got some you can have.
Yeah, I'll hit him up.
He's got that. I don't know if he's doing Ozempic or what, but it's just melting off him like butter. It's crazy.
Well, good for old Chaos.
Facts.
Love seeing our guy getting healthy.
Dude, he looks incredible.
Dude, and that goatee he had when he came on the show, hell yeah.
Crispy.
We gotta get him back on soon.
We do. Daniel, we got to go live here in like 12 hours. Are you about ready to kick it, or is there something in the chat maybe you see that you want to pull as we close out? Scott, if you have anything you still want to talk about, I feel like we're rehashing quite a bit now. Where are you guys at? Anything in the chat though you want to shout out maybe?
No, I mean just the guys are awesome in the chat. Christopher Byers is killing it. He's throwing so many names at me, the people that I don't even know, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself for that. Yeti, Harlan Abraham was in here earlier. It's good to see all you guys. We appreciate you coming in. Sean McAteer, of course. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us, guys.
Sir.
I haven't saw Modine. I haven't saw Modine, but I don't think he was here long.
He was here a lot last week and you weren't. I'm starting to wonder, are you Modine?
No, but I love that guy, man. He cracks me up.
Yeah, I love mine too. So,
if you're in the chat now, you're the real ones. I just want to tell you guys, we will be live at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So come on out, 2 p.m. Joe Blewett. Anyone who already left, they can piss off. They don't get to know that it's at 2 p.m. I'm just kidding.
Jay, just to rehash this, you will be live during the draft.
Facts. Yes. We will be live for. We're putting all of our energy into rounds 2 and 3 because that's our night, our Friday night. But you can still find us on Thursday and Saturday. But we know there's going to be 35 shows going on Thursday. So just pencil in that you're going to come visit us on Friday. Then you can go anywhere you want on Saturday. You can go anywhere you want on Thursday. But on Friday, come show us some love.
That'll be
That's
the party night,
That's
and
part of it too.
yeah, and your voice can be heard here.
That's the thing. Yeah. We're going to have enough in our chat where we're going to see everything you say and we'll reply to it. You can also call in. It's not going to be a chat that's like so fast that no matter, you could type in a paragraph and no one will read it. Type it in here. You'll get our attention for sure. Yeah, guys, I think for having almost nothing to talk about,
Lazard,
we
we had Lazard.
We did. 3 hours out of Lazard is an achievement.
I'm hoping we have a Garendo moment out of Dane this draft. Where'd he go? He heard that and he was out of here.
I just got a present. Check this out. Oh, I don't know if the camera.
Is that ice cream?
Too light. Looks like ice cream.
What's it called again? A bow? Have you ever heard of a bow?
Sure.
Scott knows. Scott knows.
Yep.
No idea.
Pork
thing.
bow?
Yes.
Yep.
This thing is incredible.
Hey,
Time
Murph,
time
look at this.
for me to go.
During
Too
the
cultured for me. Too cultured for me. Get me. I'm a caveman. Get me off of this thing.
Let me show you though. Like, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's just
red in the middle.
oozes, and it's like spongy dough that's just incredible. Very good. Hey, cultured. You're cultured now, Daniel.
I'm gonna go crawl back to my cave.
See, Chris knows. Chris knows, dude. We gotta have Chris on one night. He's like in tune with us, man.
Crushing it tonight. Chris crushing it.
Sean, good night. Greg, good night. Thanks for joining us, guys. We will see you tomorrow, and we'll see you next week with Snowball. Have a good night.
And then the draft.
And then the draft.
Coming fast.
I love the show. I love you guys. Fucking, let's go Jets. JTS, Jets.
We can't all be beautiful.
You're in the danger zone.